Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to round 19 of our F1 24 Haas Driver Career Mode. Yes, we return this weekend here for the US Grand Prix at the Circuit of the Americas. If you missed out on the last video that went live from Singapore, I would highly recommend going back and checking out. It was arguably one of the most dramatic races I've ever had inside this series, and we did do something we have never achieved before inside F1 24. Yes, we have won 3 Grand Prix in a row. We've had the fastest lap in the last 6 events back to back. This Haas car is really coming alive, and for Oscar Piastri, problems are definitely brewing over at Ferrari. A DNF at Monza, grid penalties in the last 2 GPs as well. He has lost his World Championship lead that he's basically held since very early on in the season as well. We've got a 11-point buffer over the Australian there, a 30-point gap ahead of George Russell in his McLaren. Of course, we got 3 normal weekends, 3 sprint weekends left to go this season, so there's a lot still that can change inside these final few rounds. Of course, if you're new, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed as well. We are trying to hit 140,000 subs at the moment, obviously before F1 25 releases. Also, if you want to help support us just a little bit more, you can do so by clicking the join button down below. It costs just £1 a month. You get early access to all of the videos, as well as a few other exclusive perks as well. But yeah, without further ado then, let's head back to Texas.
The party in the USA continues right now. The Circuit of the Americas, undulating, high speed, downright thrilling. It is time for qualifying to set the grid for the Grand Prix.
Well, Texas is again another one of those circuits inside this game where either I feel really good or really bad. See, the last US Grand Prix we did back in Miami, way back earlier on in the season, that didn't go very well for us. We obviously had a big crash with Charles Leclerc, and then I believe we had no, we did have a mechanical failure, but we certainly ran into a lot of problems as the weekend went on. So, hoping that we can have a bit of a better one today. I believe we have won in front of Haas home crowd here in the US before, but I just can't quite remember when. But maybe today we can try and chalk up another one. We've got 2 opportunities to try and do so. And once again, Charles Leclerc looks to be very fast. Mercedes have done something with that car since the summer break. It hasn't quite left him as, you know, a dominant front runner or anything like that, but it's certainly given him a chance to fight against a lot of the other competitors as well later on this season. But of course, yeah, 3 wins in a row. All the momentum is behind us right now as we return here to the Texan circuit. And hopefully we can try and carry that momentum right the way through to the end of the season. I just want to have a proper dogfight with Oscar Piastri at some point between this season is done and dusted. It really does feel like in the last few Grand Prix, I haven't really seen him at all. He's kind of obviously either been way in front or way behind, which is a little bit of a shame, but that can sometimes be the way championship fight works in Formula 1 there. Is one more corner to go then. Looks like Leclerc is going to storm to pole position here. Can we gain up any spots at the final turn? We will line up P4. And there we go then. Charles Leclerc will claim pole position. Oscar Piastri 0.02 of a second clear of our teammate Pierre Gasly when all is said and done. We will join him on the second row though, ready for the sprint race out of Hamilton and Enzo Fittipaldi. Our other title rival George Russell all the way down in 7th. What on earth has happened to Lando Norris, though? I don't think he's qualified in the top 10 in about the last 3 races. Really struggling in that second McLaren car. But let's just see if we can try and beat Oscar in the sprint. It'll kind of give us some good data ready for the race. Well, here we are then down on the grid. Mark, as always, just giving us a little extra word of encouragement as we get ready to start the race today. Then 10 laps, obviously just running on the medium tyres. Maybe the softs will work, I don't really know. But this circuit can be quite rear limited. We've said the same about Singapore and Baku, though, in the last couple of races. Entire wear at both of those venues has been absolutely fantastic. As we wait then on the grid, 5 red lights. It's going to be lights out, and away we go then. Neither Haas car getting off particularly well. Oscar Piastri but immediately trying to go on the offensive against Charles Leclerc and towards someone there as the other Mercedes and the other Ferrari will try and go around our outside. Hamilton, he's always loved the US Grand Prix. And immediately he's going to try and move himself up into the podium places there. No, he won't. Hit Gasly will just hang firm, as I'm hoping through the S's is where we're going to be really strong. Oh, I tried to have a look around the outside of our former teammate, of course, in that Mercedes. Definitely not quite able to make anything happen that time around there. But Leclerc has hung on then off the start. But we've seen this before from the Monegasque driver, both in this series and IRL. He can be rapid over one lap. And then you get to Sunday and he starts to struggle just a little bit more. So we'll see if we can get a run then on Lewis Hamilton. Crofty said in the pre-race, you can see speeds up to 200 miles an hour here. Lap 1, already done 207. So I think he's got his data ever so slightly wrong. He's back around the outside of Hamilton then. It means as we round our way into the final few corners of lap 1, your top 4 at least are exactly how we started. Well, here we go then, as we reach half distance. Oscar Piastri doesn't seem to be able to get a run on Charles Leclerc very easily. This time round, he's going to have a look to the outside, as we're going to try and do the same around our teammate Pierre Gasly. Oh, that got very, very close through the apex of the corner there between myself and our championship rival. But yeah, Leclerc, first time you've really seen him kind of hang on at the front of the order in a race early on. I know it's still only lap 5, but surely gives the Mercedes man a bit of confidence. We need to try and get past Oscar Piastri. I just want to keep trying to build up the buffer. Well, just a lap and a half to go then, and the pace your top 4 have had over everybody else here has been relentless. Gasly has not given up on trying to get himself into the podium places as well. But will we now see Oscar Piastri try and get a run there on Charles Leclerc? Yes, he will, and comfortably past the Mercedes. We might be able to try and look around him as well then. As to the outside, we will go. Oh, a little bit of wheel banging with Charles Leclerc, and Oscar, I'm sure we'll see that in his mirror. We get a warning for a collision there. Quite surprised by that, to be completely honest. But yeah, Oscar Piastri now, that is his chance to try and run away as we get ready to start the last lap here. We know we are quick through Sector 1. We know we're quick through Sector 3, but we've just got to be close enough in that DRS zone down the back straight. Well, as we drop down the hill off of Turn 1 then, I wonder if we're going to see Pierre even get a run on Charles Leclerc. Obviously, trying to commentate and race, sometimes my brain does inevitably give up just a little bit there, but just trying to throw the car over the curbing, trying to get as close to Oscar Piastri as we possibly can. It's only a 1-point swing, but that could still, as you know, I keep saying it, last season, that was, you know, the gap was nothing. Every point matters inside this series there, and will we be able to try and win the sprint on Haas's home soil here? We've got a huge run on Oscar, who's going to try and squeeze me to the inside there, but we get comfortably by him. He'll try and come back around the outside into the corner. Oh, we get a little bit of a wobble. So we try and get the power down there. Oscar Piastri further behind, trying to... Sorry, Pierre Gasly even behind, trying to get past Charles Leclerc, and I think he might just about do so. They are still wheel to wheel, as Oscar Piastri looking for an opportunity back past us. Up through the final couple of corners, though, I think we have timed this one to absolute perfection. 3 Grand Prix victories in a row. We're going to add a sprint to that list as well as we round our way through the final corner. It is going to be victory here in Texas on Saturday. That is important. Well, there we are then. From 4th place on the grid, we will claim victory in the sprint race here. 3 tenths ahead of Oscar Piastri, and Pierre Gasly will also pick himself up. I think it's a medal still that they give out in the sprints as well. Charles Leclerc ahead of Alonso and Hamilton. Teo Pourchaire and Russell will pick up a point for his troubles. Logan Sargent, obviously home race for him. Not looking too bad after the sprint race today. Maybe can score a point in his Red Bull car. Not too sure what happened to Daniel Ricciardo. Must have picked up damage somewhere and had to do a pit stop as well, finishing over a minute off the victory when all is said and done. But it does mean our gap now over Oscar up to 12 points as well. That's a pretty good way to kickstart the weekend. 58 points now in the Constructors as well. But we got to try and do it all again as we head into the race. Well, we did pretty good to kind of remain competitive in sprint qualifying, but now we build up a little bit of extra confidence in the car. Everybody else will also have that data though, so hopefully we can try and get an even better lap on the board as we head into the main event. Of course, I'm sure Enzo Fittipaldi down at Ferrari is obviously going to have to take some grid penalties as well, so the 3rd weekend in a row that a Ferrari car is going to be starting way out of position, and that does not do them any favours in the Constructors' Championship there. As we look at that, completely flat out through those S's until they get into Sector 2 there. That is ridiculous, the amount of grip that these ground effect cars can provide there. Oscar Piastri, though, able to get the power down off of the corner. And now he's back trying to open up the best run you can out of the hairpin there. A little bit of a wobble, but we don't try and get too aggressive with it. You know, we just be patient with the rear of the car there as we will use the battery all the way down the back straight. And you can see just gaining slightly on the Australian there, braking at about 120 metres out as you prepare yourself for Sector 3. Obviously, again, another sector where patience really does become your friend here. Got to be so careful trying to get on the throttle. It is so easy to lose time by trying to gain time in through this final sector of the lap. Unfortunately, obviously, these cars are so efficient, you don't really find enough opportunity to use the battery around this venue as well. Then penultimate corner, one of the best on the circuit. Only down one gear now. One more corner to go then as we will try and open up the circuit width. I think it's going to be Oscar Piastri that will storm to pole, and we will claim 4th again. Well, there we go then. Only your top 2 swapping around there at the front of the order. Oscar Piastri this time ahead of Charles Leclerc. Once again, Haas will lock out the second row ahead of Hamilton and Fittipaldi there. George Russell a little bit further down in P9 as, yeah, McLaren and Aston Martin really do seem to be battling each other a lot more towards the end of the year as well. Perez gets the jump on Sargent, this time by just 0.04 of a second, but both Red Bull drivers will want to try and score a point here if they possibly can. 28 laps ahead of us though, let's do it.
Here we are then in one of the fastest growing cities in the United States, the fabulous Austin in the great state of Texas. The circuit itself, 14 miles southeast of the city centre, has been home to the US Grand Prix since 2012, the latest in a long list of iconic tracks to have that honour. We have 10 turns to the left and 10 turns to the right here at the fantastic Circuit of the Americas. Overtaking opportunities into turn 1 and turn 12 at this anti-clockwise track. It's 3.6 miles long and we should see average lap speeds of around 126 miles per hour. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Oscar Piastri lines up on pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Gasly, Firestarter, Fittipaldi, Norris, Teo Porcher, Russell, Fernando Alonso, Perez, Iwasa, Tsunoda, Ricciardo, Hamilton, Behrman, Stroll, Vesti, Ocon, Sargent, and Zhou Guanyu. That's it then. It's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race.
Well, as weird as it might sound, considering he's our championship rival, it's nice to see Oscar Piastri doesn't have grid penalties this weekend. 28 laps ahead of us, though, here from Texas, and the team already talking about overheating on the tyres, so we're actually going to opt for the hards first, see how far we can take them, and then hopefully try and be quick in the second half of the GP. This is one of the real marathon races inside F1 24. It doesn't feel like it should be, but it is a really long event around this circuit. Let's see what we can do, though. Waiting on the grid, 5 red lights. And the US Grand Prix is go there. Oscar Piastri not getting off to a particularly good start. Rather unsurprisingly, we don't either, as somehow Fittipaldi has avoided taking some grid penalties after his sprint DNF yesterday. So to show how he's done that one is Leclerc and the Australian there wheel to wheel in towards the S's on lap 1. Who is going to not back out of that one? Neither of them back out, but Leclerc will get around the outside then, and we will try and do the same move as what we attempted on Hamilton yesterday. Again, it won't quite work out there, and of course we've got to remember we are on the harder tyres, so we will have less grip than the AI early on. When you try this strategy, it is a big risk because the opening few laps really can kind of be race-defining for you there. As thinking about a look on Enzo there as he just gets a little bit of a wobble on the exit of the corner. Ferrari power versus Ferrari power as we make our way down the back straight there and wheel to wheel with the young Brazilian. Has been a shame. He seems to have been really unlucky this year. All the weekends you'd expect him to do well. Things have just really gone away from him, but down the inside we will go and back up into P4 at the end of lap 1. So happy with the progress we have made off the start here. But again, your top 4 exactly the same as they were in yesterday's sprint and at the start of this race as well. So yeah, I guess we've just got to try and hang on with these guys. But it really hasn't taken long before it's starting to feel like the hard tyres have got the upper hand in this race, but I think the other three as well, they're aware of what I'm trying to do, and are now not fighting with each other anywhere near as much. They know they have to try and look after their tyres, so I think it's a little bit awkward, but we've got to try and kind of push Gasly in as a bit of a sacrificial lamb here. Try and get him, well, to fight with Leclerc a bit more. It's down the inside will go, actually. There we go. That was not quite what I intended to do. Gasly will hang on to the position, though, on the exit the corner, as we will try and switch back. I mean, this section is fantastic for this kind of racing, isn't it? So we just try and dive underneath our teammate there and up then into the podium places. As long as we stay in the DRS, the guys in front, that's the really important bit as well. But yeah, these hard tyres are working fantastically. But at the moment, I feel a little bit like a puppet master trying to control what everybody else is doing in this race right now. Oscar Piastri is still leading, but we're going to try and see if we can force him and Charles Leclerc into a bit more of an aggressive battle with each other. At this stage of the afternoon, of course, still always seems weird seeing Leclerc in the Mercedes. We've had some odd driver moves, it's safe to say, throughout this career mode. I've liked quite a lot of them, to be honest. It's just a shame they don't do more inside this game. As here we go, Leclerc then thinking about a move on Oscar Piastri. Will he have a look to the inside there, or he thought about it, as we will try and go the long way round against the Monegasque man. Not able to get the power down that time round. Definitely still the peak grip is better on those mediums than these hards, but again, a bit like Singapore, we can legitimately do this entire race on one set of tyres here. The wear, again, super low. Yeah, those mediums, though, watching Leclerc right now. There you go, team as well, want us to try and go for it. But yeah, those medium tyres are starting just to fall apart a little bit for him through that first sector. He is definitely not able to carry the same speed that he once was. Fourth time's a charm. Often a phrase I'm sure we use, but hopefully now we can finally try and get a run around the outside of Leclerc. Again, a little bit late on the brakes, but we hang the car around the outside and give him a big squeeze into the next corner and up then into P2 of this race. I would have thought we'll see the AI into the pit soon, but I'm quite happy, just like we did last weekend, just to keep extending this stint. Oh! My lord, Oscar Piastri, you could hear him get the wheel spin there, spike the revs in that Ferrari. I was trying to get the power down myself and almost binned it behind him. How dramatic would that have been in this race there? And that's the second weekend in a row I've almost had a heart attack halfway through one of these races as we try. Oscar Piastri, again, he's patient, he's fair, but just occasionally you get those little moments where you can tell, you know, he still wants to win, and he will always make you think twice about, you know, kind of trying to push him beyond his limits as well there. Well, I absolutely slammed the door, and completely within his rights to do so, down at the end of that section, as there we go, immediately he will dive into the pit lane there, so doesn't fancy trying to fight this any longer. First car in, Leclerc and Gasly both opting to stay out. Like I said, I'm happy just to keep extending this stint. I might even go to sort of lap 20. Well, it looks like Oscar Piastri then a little bit caught up behind one of the Sauber cars. I think he's going to find a way around him down the back straight there with the DRS, so that might actually work out really nicely for him, making sure that we haven't held up Leclerc and Gasly this lap, because the overcut could really work for them, as Leclerc, I mean, the last two Grand Prix, I think he's had bad pit stops. I think that's what's done the damage to Charles Leclerc in these last couple of races, but most of our other runners then diving into the pits. So where will Oscar Piastri resume in this race? Well, end of lap 19 then, I'm just monitoring those gaps to the cars around us, and I'm hoping that we're still going to come out ahead of George Russell in this GP. That gap now down to under 21 seconds. Say Charles Leclerc only 14 seconds behind. So he's looking pretty good at the moment, and yeah, Gasly and Piastri still fighting for that, well, what will effectively be P2 by the time we're in and out of the pit lane. Just make sure that we're not going to get a new front wing or anything stupid like that, but as we wound our way then in through the final couple of corners, just make sure we get the car slowed down nice and tidy into the pit lane. Nice, and well, we risked it a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. You know, we managed to get the car slowed down. That's the most important bit. Please, team, give me a good pit stop. That's what we need right now here. is a quick, you know, like 2.1, 2.2 second stop. That's what we want. 2.5, not bad going, as there goes Charles Leclerc up into the lead. There will go Gasly, there will go Oscar Piastri as well. Where will George Russell be to make our way back out to the circuit? Again, only just getting out ahead of him here. But that is critical. 9 laps left of this race. We could definitely get back to Piastri and Gasly. But has this just given Leclerc a golden opportunity to break free? As I mean, fresh medium compound tyres. Look at how much grip we've got through the S's. Immediately taking time out of the 2 in front. Well, whether he intends to or not, Pierre Gasly is doing me a huge favour right now. Able to hold up Oscar Piastri through these few corners. And I mean, it does seem like that Ferrari just doesn't quite have the straight line speed it needs this weekend. Maybe not running, running too much down forces. There we go. We'll get the normal tyre wear annoying radio message. As we make our way then in towards the final turn, are we going to be able to get a run on Oscar Piastri? I mean, you can just see how much more apex speed we're able to carry. New fastest lap of the day, so hopefully that's going to be 7 of those in a row for us at the moment. It's to the outside of Oscar. Not able to make that happen down at turn 1 there, but again, just see how much grip we've got. Trying to switch him off the exit of turn 2. We'll be able to try and hang alongside. Oh, we just about do an Oscar Piastri that time round. He gives us the room, and that is massive in the World Championship. Psychologically, we are in his head now. He shouldn't have backed out of that one. He should not have backed out of that one. He should have let him fight it and try and hang on alongside. But you know what? The Australian, very, very good at trying to keep himself out of trouble. Has obviously finished every single race this season inside the points, apart from Monza, obviously where he had that mechanical failure. But to the outside then of our teammate Gasly as well. No DRS to help him, so equal cars. We will absolutely blow by and say Charles Leclerc then, only 2 seconds up the road. We've done basically a less extreme version of Singapore up to this point. Hopefully we'll get the same result. 4 laps remaining then. We've rocked up to the back of Charles Leclerc as well here. Looks like Piastri has found a way around Pierre as well, so that's a little bit frustrating. But yeah, for us though, the focus is trying to make it 4 wins in a row. And the sprint obviously yesterday as well. This US weekend has been pretty good for the Haas team, and I tell you what, we haven't given up putting upgrades on this car late on this season. And I think as other teams obviously focus on next year, you know, as they're coded to inside the game, it has really, really helped us out as Charles Leclerc there, able to defend that time round down at the hairpin. Again, he's been really good all day, like I said, about just positioning that Mercedes so that you could try and commit to the inside. But it probably wouldn't benefit you very well there. Sliding it to the inside, though. Oh, at the very next corner, Leclerc's going to try and move across us there. And can we go all the way around the outside through the Turkey S section? Not quite able to that time round. And that got a little bit nip and tuck. But yeah, Charles Leclerc there, willing to put it all on the line. He wants a win here in Texas, but so do I. Power down out of that final corner. Can we have a look for a run? Back in towards someone there against the Mercedes. He's going to try and squeeze us right down to the inside line. Oh, as we try and get up the hill there. And again, Leclerc just positioning that car absolutely fantastically to hang on to the position in towards the S's. This is brilliant racing. Lay on in the event here. We'll try and just hook it up right the way through. Oh, Leclerc again just nudged the brake. Obviously, he needed to. He hasn't got the grip in that car. But at exactly the perfect time. If I'd kept the foot to the floor, we would have lost our win. Well, less than 3 laps to go then, and all this squabbling with Leclerc is potentially allowing Oscar Piastri and Pierre Gasly. I don't know, why do I keep getting the names wrong today, man? I don't know what's wrong with me. All this battling with Leclerc is allowing Pierre and Oscar Piastri just to close in a little bit more. But surely now, with the straight line speed we've got, we're going to try and seal the deal against Charlie Boy this time around. We're going to keep defensive. I'm just going to try and see if we can make it happen there. Oh, almost banging wheels on the exit of the corner. Will Leclerc be able to put the power down? Yes, he will. And those hard tyres starting to provide the grip he needs there. Oh, another little wobble as we try and stay wheel to wheel with him. Leclerc, though, oh, he will potentially try and look for a switch back off of the turn. But finally, we are back a bit of P1 there. But look how much time Piastri's taken out of us. Oscar Piastri might almost be back inside the DRS as we just bobble over the curbing as well. Huge snap of understeer And oversteer there, and Leclerc back to the inside. Whoa! I think we've just slightly cooked these tyres in the last couple of laps there. We don't seem to have many signs of overheating, but suddenly now, Piastri and Gasly back in the fight. Oh, Oscar thought about it down at turn 1. This race has become a lot more dramatic. And it's got even worse. A gearbox failure with 2 laps to go. You have got to be joking me. Out of nowhere, our win streak comes to an end. The chance at a victory today comes to an end. We've held up Gasly as well in the process. And with less than 2 laps to go, we are out of the Grand Prix. I didn't even know you could get a mechanical failure inside the last 2 laps.
The man from Monaco will win again. Charles Leclerc takes the checkered flag.
Such an important victory at this stage of the season. Any points you can achieve to go towards the table is really going to mean a lot to the team. So well done as they prepare for the end of the season.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it.
Well, I cannot believe with less than 2 laps to go, a gearbox failure here. That could be season defining, especially with how fine the margins are still between myself and Oscar. But Charles Leclerc, though, luckily for me, will take the victory here in the main event. They're a second clear of Oscar Piastri come the checkered flag. Gasly in third ahead of Russell. Alonso, Norris, Porsche, Fittipaldi, Iwasa and Hamilton will round out your top 10 there. So Red Bull again failing to score points there. Perez down in 14th, Sargent in 15th. So no idea what happened to them. We do get classified come the checkered flag, but gutted that our win streak, like I said, is ended as well with that result. What does that do to our World Championship, though? It means that Oscar's back in front there by 6 points, and Russell, on a weekend where I thought he would get pretty much knocked out of it, he is still only 31 points back there. Gasly and Leclerc, they've got a mathematical shot still, but they're going to need a lot of things to go their way and really hope that the top 3 trip over each other over the next few events as well. Norris, Lando and Fernando now all tied up on 176 points as well, a little bit further behind, but an absolute disaster for us this weekend. We've still got a 53-point buffer at the top of the constructors. Again, Ferrari, and McLaren at the moment just don't have 2 drivers that are regularly scoring points in the same way we are over at Haas as well. But so much heartbreak right at the end of the afternoon, but what a dramatic weekend it has been here from Texas. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon, ready in Mexico City.